Oh, okay. If you say define name, then you can do it. For example, in this case, my rate is going to be known only for the sheet. I can go something else, my rate, on another sheet. But by default, a given name is known through entire workbook. Unless you do really fancy stuff, you're not going to have to worry about it. But I just wanted to let you know that you can do sheet specific. Now, in addition to absolute and really relative reference, there's also kind of in between. Sometimes you actually want to fix the column reference, but not the row. So if you copy a formula and paste it just straight down or somewhere else, you still want to refer to the first column, but you want the rows to shift. Sometimes you want to keep the row fixed, but the column to shift. And that kind of is helpful as well. So if I go to this formula, remember, let's make that A1. Using F4, you can toggle. The first F4 makes it into $A, $1. The second one relaxes, makes the column relative, but the row fixed. The third one makes the column fixed and row variable. The fourth one brings you back there. And you're going to say, how is that going to help me? Let's say you want to make a table. In the old days, before financial calculators, especially at the back of the basic accounting books, you had a table of present value factors, which basically says, what is the present value of $1 in the future? 10 years from now, the interest rate is 8. Or 15 years from now, the interest rate is 3. So you have a two-dimensional table. On the top, you have years maybe, and going down, you have interest rates. So let's kind of make a table. Let's write down the formula for present value. So, present value factor. Come on. So PVF is simply 1 over 1 plus R raised to the power T. So I'm going to make a two-way table. On the vertical, I'm going to have rates. On the horizontal, I'm going to have years. But I'm going to put in 30 different years. And I'm going to put in, 10 different interest rates. Obviously, I don't want to write 30 times 10, 300 formulas, right? Remember, I call this in civilized. You can do it. That would be very uncivilized. But civilized way is to write one formula and drag it to somewhere, which is what we're going to do. So I'm going to set up a table. Let's do this. I'm going to put the rates or years over here. Oh, another civilized thing to do I want to write numbers from 1 to 30. I don't want to write them all. I'm a lazy guy, okay? I'm civilized. So how am I going to do it? Well, in Excel, if there is a pattern and you want to repeat that pattern, all you have to do is select the cells that contains the pattern. In this case, it's a simple pattern. It goes up by 1. Go to the lower right-hand corner of the selection. Your cursor becomes a thin black cross. Click, grab it, but don't release. Drag it down. As I drag it down, there's a little white box. It tells me if I release the mouse button, what am I going to end? Well, I want that to be 30. Done. Okay? And here I'm going to write interest rates. By the way, if you're writing an interest rate and you want to write it as 1%, write it as 1%. You don't have to remember that decimal is speaking, it's 1 to 1. If you do, fine, good for you. Years ago, we asked, those days, it took 128 hours to graduate with a bachelor's degree. And we had a math for business kind of class. The first day we asked students, what's 5% of 100? About half the people actually got it wrong. They can't think in terms of decimals. You don't have to. If you simply type 1%, Excel actually thinks that as 1%. If you format a cell as a percent, then later you want to change it, all you have to do is type 2. Okay? Or 0.05%. That may be hard to figure out as decimal. I mean, it's 0.0005, but hey, what do I care? 0.05%. One thing is, if the leading number is 0, don't type 0.05%. In fact, I can type 0.05%. It thinks it says 5. But I'm going to do it with 1%. Let me drag this cell here, make it 2%. Now there's a pattern. I'm going to increase it until I hit 10%. Okay. Uh-oh, something wrong on the cell M5. With a hashtag. What's wrong with itself? Not big enough. It's not big enough to contain the numbers. And in that case, you can change the width of the cell or simply double click on the column. It automatically fits it in there. Okay. Now, I'm going to write a formula. One formula. First, let's just do it for this cell. 1 over 1 plus interest rate raised to the power number of years. In this case, I know that exponentiation is going to be done first. But when in doubt, use extra parentheses. Nobody ever died from using an unnecessary parenthesis. But a lot of people died from not using parentheses that were necessary. That means at 1% interest rate, $1 1 year from now is worth 99.01 cents. That's what a present value factor is. So if you wanted to know a value of $1,000, multiply 1,000 with that factor. Now I'm going to do something to those two references that's going to allow me to calculate, enter formulas for those 300 cells with ease. Now, if I copy this formula and paste it here, copy, paste, let's see what it refers to. It refers to 2% as it should, but it is not referring to 1 year anymore because I haven't done anything about it. It's actually doing 0.9901 years, which means I need to fix the reference to row when it comes to the number of years. So let's do that. 1, 2. It says, as I copy this formula, feel free to shift the column reference, but fix the row reference, for C6 at least. And it is referring to the proper numbers. I'm sorry, no, I should be referring to the same column. That cell should calculate present value of $1 1 year from now if the interest rate is 2%. That's exactly what it's doing. The trouble is, let's also do this. This is present value of $1 invested at 1% for 2 years. That number is not right. Why? Because it's no longer referring to 1%. It's referring to 0.9901, which means for interest rate, I have to fix the row. Now copy it here, copy it here. For example, this is $1 or present value of $1, 2 years from now, invested at 2%. It's exactly the right one, right? Now I got my formula correct. All I have to do is drag it here, fill the row. I got too many hashtags, select those, double click, it auto fits, or I'm going to make this a little bit smaller. Now I need to fill all of those, select the rows. You can drag it, or you can simply double click at the lower right hand corner of the selection. It automatically fills them all until it sees a blank cell on the left. I got my table. I didn't have to write 300 formulas by intelligently figuring out what to fix.